So begins another wild and woolly escapade of. Turn down the music here. Of course, I wouldn't find the remote when I turn down the music. How many times does that happen? 1,000? 1,100? Okay, I may stop the video in a second if I can't find the damn thing. Drawback, you bow. Okay. Well, that's taken care of. This is the Sterkel Sessions Cult Classics, or Cult Classics the Sterkel Sessions, depending on if you think I'm more important than the Cult Classics that I'm talking about. The answer is obvious, so I won't even say it. All right, now we're talking about one in particular today. Now, Zack Snyder made a remake of this back in maybe 2002, 2003, 2004, 2002. Sold. All right. And this is, but I'm talking about the original here. This is Dawn of the Dead. Just ran into someone today when I was in the grocery store who complimented my Bride of Frankenstein t-shirt. Yes, ladies, that is right. That's the kind of women that I attract. Anyway, he was talking about her love of the Universal Monster series. Universal Monsters being the original Frankenstein, Dracula, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Wolfman, the Mummy, all of those. They tried to reboot that with Tom Cruise, couldn't get it done. The Mummy. I think they were going to try to reboot the classics into maybe a sustainable series, kind of try to take on Marvel because that's Universal, but couldn't get it done. I never saw the Mummy. If you have, leave a comment and just say I saw the Mummy was good or whatever. I'll probably end up watching it eventually. I do like Tom Cruise, despite the fact that everyone dislikes him. The reason I like him is because he's just a good actor. I don't really care what he believes in religiously. I've never cared what someone else believes in religiously. So that's just my stance on it. Like, if you want to marry him, that's something different, I suppose, because you have to combine all that. So if you're ever thinking about marrying Tom Cruise, remember, I did not endorse that. I just said that he was a good actor. Okay? But we're talking about Dawn of the Dead today. This was, I suppose, for lack of a better word, a legal copy. This is the problem with China, that they're making lots of these, and we are not getting the copyright on them. That's important for one reason and one reason alone, because the artists that made them do deserve the money. Now, obviously, Mr. Romero has passed on. For those of you who know anything about George A. Romero, he has passed on at this point. But there is a lot that can be said about that. One is that it keeps money in the United States, which is good. If you're ever concerned about the economy of our United States, it's best to keep the money in there. And one of the biggest ways we do it is through our entertainment. We are probably, for lack of a better term, the leaders in entertainment in the world. So when you buy illegal things, you're taking away money from the United States and you're giving it to whomever made the illegal copy. And in most cases, it probably is China, because they have very loose copyright laws there. I don't mean to get more political than that. I'll leave it at that, because if you don't care, then I don't. So your choices are not mine. But anyway, as I said before, I bought this one. I didn't realize it was a Chinese ripoff, though. It was just low priced on eBay. It was about $7 or $8. An average copy of this now runs about $30 to $35 because it is not in print, I don't think, anymore. I'm sure you can find it on many different Voodoos or Hoodoos or all kind of weird shit. I don't know. But you can find it on that, I'm sure. And then you don't have to. I just keep DVDs for one specific reason, because I am deathly afraid that those companies will collapse and I will lose my entire library. And because I buy such a large library, I don't want that to happen. That's all. But this is Dawn of the Dead. Why is it considered? I consider it to be one of the greatest films of all time, because I said before, in the cult classics, they are usually in the top 500. Sometimes they are not. It's close to the very end of the 500. It's up there. Night of the Living Dead is not. Romero's original movie was a masterpiece. It is in the top 30 of all time, but this one is not in the same way. But it is, I prefer it more to the original Night of the Living Dead. There are several reasons why Night of the Living Dead is in the top 30 and this one is not. I just happen to prefer this one because it's just a cooler film. I mean, it takes place, you're basically in a post-apocalyptic world where zombies have taken over. A small group of people, about 4 people, end up in a mall. Again, if you've seen the the Snyder film, you have a general idea of what it is. However, in the original, the zombies do not run. Um, Snyder added that for effect. Hey, Betty. Here's my Betty. Here's Notorious Betty. She loves to be on film. She sure does. Okay, baby, run on off. All right, fine, stay with me. All right, but so what we're talking about here is a very, very cool film. It's a very, very cool film. It is highly worth watching. Highly. I don't see any reason why not to. If you like horror films at all, you should have seen this already, or at least be wanting to see this. It is one of the godfathers of, the grandfathers of horror genre. Obviously, there's always been horror genre, but the way that we make them now, this is one of the grandfathers of that style. If you like The Walking Dead, then you owe it almost entirely to this film. So, I mean, Night of the Living Dead was definitely good, and it has its different reasons for why it's one of the best of all time. But Dawn of the Dead is really the one that set the tone for how we like zombie stuff now. It is again, it takes place in a mall. It's about surviving it, not necessarily surviving just the night, which is what the night is about. They made a trilogy to this, and the last film was called Day of the Dead, which is also a very, very good film. But it is not in the top 500. I wouldn't even put it in the top 1,000. But it is definitely a good film, and it's worth watching. It is not as good as Dawn of the Dead, though, in any way, shape, or form. But Dawn of the Dead, there's no real way to explain it other than you need to see it. It is grotesquely violent, which is why I like it. It adds a certain level of coolness to the film. Quentin Tarantino was in early Hollywood, and some of his interviews said that he used to lie and say that he was one of the motorcycle gang in this film. So, Tarantino was possibly influenced by it. He's never taken on really the horror genre, and probably won't. I think he's making maybe 2 more films. So I don't think he's going to take on the horror genre now. But anyway, it's just it was influential to the '90s cinema movement. The reason I found this film is actually a weird story. I have watched the '90s version of Night of the Living Dead first before I watched any zombie film. It was on TCM, not TCM. I'm sorry, whatever that pay station is, TWL. I don't know, whatever. The one used to be a pay station on TV for our satellite for a long time. It was on there, and I caught it about halfway through, and it was enough for me to get interested in the horror genre or the zombie film genre. This was about '98 or so, and I saw Dawn of the Dead in VHS. Ooh la la. At a Sam Goodies or some type of old record store like that, and I purchased it, and I truly enjoyed it. And then I got involved in the zombie movement. I don't really watch Walking Dead, I'll be honest with you. Even though I did like zombie films for a long time, I saw all the ones that I wanted to see, and although I have watched some of The Walking Dead, I just didn't get into it that much. It's because I've seen all the zombie films pretty much, even Zombie. Now, the interesting thing about Zombie is that it is, I believe, I don't know what country Zombie comes from, but it is a zombie movie. But a man fights a shark with a knife underwater, and it's a real shark. So, hey, if you ever wanted to see something like that, Zombie is for you. But, there's not really talk about Dawn of the Dead because I really just want you to watch it. I don't want to explain a lot of the film. It is a little bit different, well, actually, it's a lot different than the Zack Snyder remake. I would say. One is that it is definitely more paced. It is more of an intellectual zombie movie than anything else. It has a very cool soundtrack, which was even used in Shaun of the Dead. He used some of it in that, and it was a very very cool like 70s mall. Uh, what do they call that? Elevator music kind of stuff. And you see all these zombies gnawing on things and stuff. It's pretty cool. But it is just a good story too, which is the heart of any film. Is the story? It doesn't matter how fancy you or how great the graphics are or whatever. It really just comes down to the story. And this was just a great story. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'd like to say about it. Not really right now. I just want you to watch it, and if you do, just please drop me a line telling me if you liked it or not. Until then, auf Wiedersehen.